Okay, stop. We just want to have real conversations, honest conversations about trading. If you feel the same, welcome to the True Traders Experience.
Okay, welcome everyone in this episode. And today is a special episode. You meet just Dave and me. We thought that it would be nice to have an episode where we could discuss a bit about who we are and that you get to know us a bit better.
So I'll start with me then.
Maybe we could say how we started to meet.
About a year ago, I always had a bit of an interest in day trading, but I knew nothing about it. I mean, all I knew was long-term investment strategies with superannuation and ETFs and just holding to them for like 10, 20 years and riding all the bumps. And eventually you would just end up making more money than what you started. All right. So at that point, I wanted to kind of, I don't know, maybe it's a form of control. I just kind of wanted to see if I could have a bit more of a hands-on approach with my finances. And that led me down the path of wanting to learn more about trading. I had no idea the path that it would lead me. I didn't know anything about really the psychology behind it or what it took to actually be a trader.
So you started to invest, but what made you think about trading?
Well, the reason why is because I had a financial advisor, right? And they'd be like, you have a chat with them once every 6 months, and depending on the economy and where things are at, you might go, oh, well, maybe we should pivot and we'll put some more money in gold and maybe some money here or whatever. And I always wanted to know, like, how can I really make my money work more for me? And the only way to do that is if you learn how to trade and you do this yourself, whether it be swing trading or whatever. And so when I asked a few questions, like I asked this guy, Tristan, about trading, he's the one that said, oh, you should talk to Harry, which we already had our interview with Harry. And he was day trading quite successfully at the time. And so I reached out to him, and that's when he said, oh, look, yeah, happy to help. You should check out this person, that person. And at the top of the list was Pablo under Zubaget. It wasn't even Pablo. And so I just went on a video, checked out Zubaget, and saw a couple of YouTube videos. And I really just loved the way you explained everything. It was such a simple, effective way of trading. And it just came from a very genuine place, which is me through and through. So I downloaded Discord. I wasn't even a member at the time. And then I became a member and joined the Discord straight away. And became the Baker tier on Patreon. I remember my first live stream with you, and there weren't many people talking. There's a lot of texting, but not much talking live in the streams. But then after a little while of getting comfortable, I remember I started talking a little bit more, and now I'm really happy that so many more people are talking, which is awesome. But that's, I guess, how
it's thanks to you, Vincent, because I was usually talking alone for a long time.
For a long time, yeah. But that's, I guess, how our friendship started, really. It came from that. Of course, let's not forget, I was so eager at the time. I was so excited that I fell for a fake Pablo scammer that managed to get a little bit of money off me. And I remember you felt so bad about that. Even it wasn't your fault whatsoever. It was me. And I never fall for this stuff ever. But it just happened to be. The reason why that happened was I think I went to text you first, but it wasn't the you. It was a fake one, and that's when
I don't remember actually how it started. I think how did it start? Yeah, because I don't remember. Because I remember we texted, but yeah. I don't remember really how, but you told me that the guy was like really similar talking or something. I don't remember exactly.
No, so what happened was because the guy didn't reach out to me, I reached out just to say, oh, I love the video, something like that. I really love this video. Thank you. It's been great. Because I was new to Discord, I had no idea. I must have just written message Pablo Purcell, right? And then it must have given me a fake account, and I messaged her, and we weren't friends, I think. Okay. And then what happened was then the response came, and I was just automatically thinking it was you at the time. And then after a while, after a bit of language, I started questioning it, but at that stage it was kind of a little bit too late. So that's kind of what happened. Because if it came out of the blue from you, I don't think I would have. I mean, I would have.
So what happened is that actually you might have DM like one of the fake.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I DM the fake Pablo. I had no idea at the time.
Yeah, but at the time it was also annoying for me. Like I didn't know how to deal with it.
Oh,
because it was a lot of them, like every time. And every time a video were doing pretty all right, you had new ones. And I still ban some, and still they are working. Like DMing people. It's like...
It's crazy. And I had no idea like how much, like, so I'm just trying to move this. I had no idea how many sort of scammers there were on Discord either. Because like I said, I had no idea about Discord, right? So for me, it's like, I don't even know what this is. Yeah, cool, join. And I was just like, as green as you can get. Anyway, so then I told Pablo about the situation. I remember you felt so bad, even though it wasn't your fault. And but it kind of helped me, because I think even my psychology kind of helped me, because you got to get used to losing, right? So like
it was quite a start.
It was quite a start. Yeah, it was a nice start. But I have lost before that too, so we'll talk about more about that soon. But so it's that's what kicked off the journey. And then as I delved more and more into trading, especially the psychology part, that's where I really started to fall in love with it. And for me, it actually it made a lot of things make sense in my life at the time that weren't making sense. That wasn't making sense for me. So I'll give you an example. So a lot of people know that I've had a songwriting and production career for 20 years. And I've did really well with that, and it's been fantastic. I'm still doing it today. But around 4 years ago, it was about 3 months before COVID. I wanted to invest, and I had some money, and my business partner wanted to invest too. And we decided to invest in a restaurant. Like the restaurant was already successful in terms of like the clientele and the marketing. Had lines out the door. We knew the owner, known him for a long time. And anyway, to cut long story short, he kind of had a little bit of financial trouble, and he said, look, if we can invest this X amount of money, we can kind of get out of trouble, because he made some other investments that didn't really work out. And it could be actually a really good opportunity. And I knew how popular the restaurant was, so we invested, me and my business partner, in music. He invested too. And then I immediately decided to do what I do, which is I went in there to try and fix other areas in the business, like the finance part, and just like systems and technology within the business. And 3 months later, COVID happened, so that put me on an express train to really have to jump in deep, because at that point they didn't have any technology in the restaurant. Like the internet wasn't even working. They had a POS system that was bought like 10, 15 years prior. So like I had to really get in there and fix up a lot of things. Anyway, things went all right, okay, for the first couple of years. It took a lot of my time though, and it was difficult. But then as time went on, we had some disagreements with business partners, and things weren't really working out. Inflation kicked in after COVID, so then there was another problem. And anyway, to cut long story short, a lot of things were happening. So right around the time that I joined the Discord, I wanted to get out. I wanted to get out of the restaurant. I wanted to somehow find someone else to buy my share and leave. But at that point, I hadn't made my money back. When I started reading all the books and the psychology and a lot of the books that you actually recommended, Pablo, the Daniel Kahneman, that was a good one. The Think Fast, Think
Fast.
Yeah. When I started reading that one in particular, and it talked about the halo effect and how you end up, you just jump into things because you just see nothing but the positive side of something without looking at the downsides. All right. I know I did that with the restaurant. And then on top of that, there was another thing called sunken cost fallacy, where you're so busy trying to make sure you don't lose that you keep either putting in more time or more money into a losing position, which is exactly the same as trading, right? You don't double down on your losing position. Sometimes you just need to cut your losses. And that actually made me decide that day, that's it, I'm cutting my losses and I'm moving on. And I've lost money there, and a considerable amount of money, not just a few thousand. So, but it was the best thing I ever did, because it freed my mind to be able to focus on things that I really am enjoying, which is one of them is trading, obviously my music again, and a few things. So, yeah.
Were there something with the music going on for you to shift to add up a restaurant in your time?
I think my thing, and I know this is probably not, I mean, it might not be a valid reason, but because I'm getting older, I just never liked the feeling, as much as I've made money, as much as I've made money in music, which has bought me my house, and I bought I've got a couple of investment properties too. So I've done really, really, really well. But I just never liked the feeling of having all my income based in one thing. And the thing is, like, the music industry, you really don't have a lot of control. You can, obviously, if you have your own, you're the label and you have your own marketing and you do your own thing. But in my situation, because I'm a songwriter and a producer, I rely on the artists I'm working with, labels, because they're the ones that make it happen. And so it's never really been in my control. So when I write with an artist, I don't get paid at that time. It's not like I get paid for my time. So what happens is I'll write with the artist. It could be 6 months, could be a year, might be never, that they might want to use that song. And when they use that song, that's when I usually charge for like an upfront fee for production. And then on top of that, I'll get my songwriting royalties. But the songwriting royalties also depends on the success of the song, right? So you could essentially write all year long and not make anything. And it was like that for a long time. So I know what that's like.
It's actually worse than what I experienced in photography. Like, you really invest yourself for free for such a long time.
Yeah, like I'm in the studio tomorrow. I'm not getting paid for my time, right? So it's just the way it works. So you need
to really like select the person you're working with.
Yeah, you do. And not only that, but they need to select you, because at the end of the day, it's like, if the artist, let's just say you're Celine Dion, right? Example, who you want to write with, you're going to make a new album, you might write with 20 different people. And then out of the 20 or 30 songs you have, you'll make an album of 10. I mean, there's no guarantee that you're going to be on that 10. And not only that, but just having a song on the album doesn't make you as much money as, say, being the single that goes to radio and everything else. So there's a lot of risk involved, and it's just getting worse. Like, streaming just made it so much worse. Like, it's just, the money is just nowhere near what it used to be. So with all these things kind of happening, I think I just wanted to make a pivot about 4 or 5 years ago and just not be all caught up in the one area. So I started searching. That's where the restaurant happened. Trading as well, I guess. Yeah, that's definitely part of the search. I've started a couple little things on the side as well, just to try and generate other areas of income. So that's kind of where I am now. But I'm really busy, but I'm the happiest I've ever been, because I just feel like I've taken a bit of control back in my own life. Even though I don't have control in the charts, I still have control of myself, and that is the best takeaway from all this. So yeah, it's that's been my journey up until now.
I think it's the normal. It's one of the normal path of an independent. Like, we start with something, we have a skill that potentially we get motivated to exploit. Then we start to work on it. It gets good. but we come at a point of experience that either we scale up and we still continue on that, or we try to diversify.
Yeah.
So I think it's definitely a normal route you go through.
Yeah.
But yeah, the restaurant in some way was like the biggest weight, I would say, right? That you had.
That was a big weight, yeah, because I had 20 staff. It was just painful. The hospitality is very difficult industry, and
the restaurant is tough.
And you think to yourself, like, I mean, they were doing like a couple of million in revenue a year. They could easily do it, but when you pay everything, what's left over, you'd be surprised. So it's
the expenses, the employees, it's cost a lot.
Yeah, it does. It costs a lot, and I wasn't enjoying it. It was I enjoyed it for a time, and then I wasn't enjoying it anymore. And at that point, yeah, it was time to move on. So, but yeah, the good thing about what I'm saying, like, yeah, but the thing that really helped me was the journey in trading, because that put everything in perspective for me. And there were times, because like it was depressing, like to say, oh, I'm probably going to lose this money that I put in and not get it back. And I was never really someone that had lost money before. I'd always lost time, never really lost money. And I grew up from a background where money was always way more important than time, because we never had money. So it's funny, like when you don't have money, the only thing that you have to bargain with is time. And so you will throw endless amounts of time at something because it's a disposable commodity that you can part with. But when you have money, or if you grow up with money, then your views is actually quite the opposite. So it's funny, like how your relationship with money can change, but also it's like, I think that natural feeling towards money from a child is hard to shake. So it was difficult for me to think, oh, I've lost this money, where I knew that there's people out there that have lost way more money than me. So I think, I don't know what your experience is with that, Pablo.
Well, what I can say about that is that my wife comes from, she's Scandinavian, she's Swedish, so she comes from a background where the usual mindset, like her parents, you could see them as like just Mr. Anyone, right? So just, I will not, middle class, let's say, but still had struggle with money and so on. So in their mind was like to say to her and to her brother, the only thing you need to do in life is to save money. So it was all about saving. And so when we met together, I was in a very critical point where from one day to another, I dropped everything from my business in photography. So I was a fashion photographer. And we took risks for some business we wanted to do, like some ideas that I had. And it required to put money in risk. And for her, it was very difficult at first. So she had ideas. I need to have a minimum in my bank account and so on. And I'm like, if we want to do this, like, there's a risk to take. So at first was really difficult, but the curve of learning, now she completely shifted and she understood the thing. For me, I didn't have really the same issue, but I suppose it's because of my family. Money hasn't been a problem, not in the fact that we did have, but on the mindset of it. Like, my mom had a very good career, then met my dad, and my dad had a very good career and did a lot of like shady stuff also in between. So they had this moment where, like, if you have a good career, you have good money. But even when we didn't have money, the mindset was still the same.
Yeah.
So even if my mom, because my dad left quite early, my mom had to budget plan. She always tried to tell me, like, as long as you'll do a good job into something, it will bring you money. And she never made me think like, okay, now we low on money, we shouldn't spend on that. Like if it was something that could help me for whatever, like it will just we will just take on it and eat less or something. So I think for me the money was, I had a very different perspective about money from quite early on. Like I didn't think like I need to save and all, which was not the best at the time, because when I started to be a late teenager, like I was spending more than what I could have.
Yeah, right.
But then it taught me things along the way. Like I kind of educated myself towards that. Yeah. So I'm definitely on the side where I did lose a lot of money to make more at some point. I've took risks. Yeah. And I've never, like the only time I really prioritized time was when I wanted to be a photographer. And I knew the route, because I needed to be an assistant photographer, so I needed to work for someone for free for quite some years to make myself a network and get to know people, then get the gears, and then say, okay, I'm starting. So this was the only time where I really like put time on it. But then it was, then I was like, I need to catch up right away. So I was charging like directly.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess so. I mean, when you lost money though, how would it have affected you back then? Say before you worked on your psychology.
The thing is, I'll tell you something very interesting. So, I had several chapters, obviously, like everyone in my life. But to make it short, is when I stopped the high school, I directly went to Switzerland to work. So I needed to do something that will give me a probability of good money, because I had some things to deal with in my life, to some debt that I had. I did good. I learned how to sell. So I was selling advertise from this luxury hotel. They have magazines, right? Like usually it's free. You can just like go through it. So what I was doing is that I was selling advertise to this type of magazine. Like I was with a magazine and selling advertise to clients that wanted to potentially expand their clientele from luxury field. So I did great and so on. And then there were a point where I had a problem with the owner of a magazine. And so from one day to another, I had no job, right? I was not working. And the thing is that all the money that was coming, it was everything for the debt, because I just wanted to get rid of it. I was in deep trouble, but this was a family issue, right? And so what happened is that I had enough for like just renting a studio or something, until I had nothing. And at some point I was like, okay, I have nothing. Should I go back to Paris and struggle? In Paris, it's so much more conventional, because like it's like either you find a job, and then you go slow. I needed to be in a place where I could really like expend the money, like to make more money, to get real quick, right? So anyway, I've been homeless for like 3 months, where I had nothing, bro. Yeah. And I decided, as a stubborn guy in his early 20s, I just decided, okay, I'll stay in Switzerland. I didn't have the permits for it, anything. So literally, sorry, it's my phone. Literally, I had nothing. And now that I'm thinking about it, so I was sleeping, either I was hiding in my ex-parents' place, but most of the time I was in the border of a lake, as it was close to a lake, and you had many places to put a tent or whatever. And it made me realize that if you lose everything, like you can go more down. And it made me somehow happy in some way. So I had a really good time of happiness at that moment, because I was just reflecting on things, what's important, what's not. And it taught me also that you can just win as much money as you want and lose it all from one day to another, but you're still here. Of course, I was at a time where I was not paying, like I didn't have responsibility per se, right? So it was, I suppose, the perfect moment to be at that situation. Sure. But it taught me so much for after. And every day, like as I had no money, I was in a stage where I was the same. right? Like nothing changed. It's not like I can lose more. I could just only win. So every day I was like, okay, I'll take an opportunity to find something new I could do to make more money. And just this experience, long story short, made me change completely my vision about money. And this was my early 20s. And that's where I was like, I'm never going to work for someone as a pure contract or whatever. It will still be me as an independent and just continue like that, because what worse can happen is that I lose it all and I start something new. That was the mindset of it.
Yeah, and I think that that really would have helped propel your trading too, because when you understand that everything that we have is borrowed, really, whether it's money or time,
literally,
then I think that really you kind of start to see things for what they are, and just not worry about it so much. Like even now, right now, I'm on a 4 loss streak at the moment. I don't know how many you're at right now. I know you've had a couple of losses.
That didn't count,
yeah. But that could bother me, but it's not really at all. And it's just a matter of saying, hey, it doesn't really mean anything, really. All right. As long as the only time it becomes something is when you start risking way more than you are able to risk. Like, for instance, obviously right now I'm in this Darwinex, but regardless of whether I was in Darwinex or whether I was using my own funds, I'd only ever risk enough for it to not lose sleep over it. And I think everyone's levels at a different point. Sorry, everyone's at a different level depending on their financial status or whatever. So for me, it might be, I don't know, it could be $100 maybe, whereas in Trader Tom can be like 40 grand. So but as long as you maintain that same psychology, it doesn't really matter how much it is, right? It's just being able to know that you are able to part with that, whatever you've put on the table. Yeah. But I think for me, the reason why I like to talk about this is because, it really, trading has made everything in my life make sense. I'll give you an example. I know we're going a little bit off topic here, but when people used to ask me, and usually it would be a lot of singers, how did you make it in the music industry? I actually didn't even have an answer for them. I actually didn't know. I said, I don't know. I said, all I can tell you is, like, I would write my music, I'd work with different artists. One door would open, another one would close, another door open, close, door open, close, for years and years and years and years. And then eventually you just end up where you end up. That's usually what would be my answer. And but then when you start reading about all this stuff and things that kind of help you in your trading, what it was I was doing exactly what we're doing now. I was just very process orientated. So what was happening was I was writing all the time without actually a purpose, like not a direct purpose. Like obviously I knew the goal was I want to make this my career, but the purpose of that day, writing that song with a particular artist, there was no guarantee of anything ever happening, right? So you just do it anyway. So, and then if you do that enough times, that eventually something does happen, an opportunity happens, and then you take it, and then another one happens, and you just kind of, that's when you end up where you end up. Like there's no clear path to it, right? And so when I got on this self-discovery through trading, I learned so much about myself that I was already doing. And so that kind of really made a lot of things click for me too. So it's for me, it's like, it's such a great way, trading for me is such a great way to obviously get yourself to financial freedom eventually. That's what I'm hoping for. But once again, I don't know how I'm going to get there. I don't know. I'm just going to end up there, hopefully, the same way I did with music. But one thing I know for sure is the process is the key to getting it there. So, yeah, that's the...
It's such an important key. Yeah. First, to do that you love it is very important. Yeah. Because every time I started something that was out of an outcome, thinking like I'll make a lot of money doing that, never performed as well as if I was starting something that I would love. Like I would just be passionate. And I think it's because you and me, we are also from an artistic background. But the ones who will make it the most are the ones who actually are passionate about what they do. And they will do it no matter what outcome they get. And already this is so important. If you don't think of the outcome you'll get, and you just do this because you love it, you'll get closer to a goal that many of people want just because you love it compared to them, because maybe they do it for just the money. Understand?
Yeah.
Now that's what we are seeing, is that so many people are like, I want to do trading because it's financial freedom, or it's just finance, and they just want to see the money because it might be the key to get them out of what they don't, like they are not right now, or they don't want to be right now. You understand?
Yeah.
When many times I've been helping people like that I like friends or whatever, through whatever they had as a question, right? It's like, as long as you do something that you love. For example, with my wife, we started something together, like artistic, and we went, it was 8 years ago, something like, we went completely viral on social media. Like it started to become huge on Instagram, then it was Pinterest and so on, and we were like, okay, like what happened? And we ride the wave literally, like, and it made us very, very good for us, right?
Mm-hmm.
But as long as, when was it? 2-3 years ago, I would say. Like my wife still continues to do it, but me, I started to lose the point of it. Like I was not starting to love anymore what we were doing and so on. So I told her like I'm stepping back of that. And it's very important because whatever I was producing for that business with her and so on was not good. Like they were not a good quality or whatever. So it just didn't work. So I was like, okay, I'm taking this decision, despite it could give us maybe a bump in the finance or whatever, and just move on to a new thing that I want to concentrate on.
Yeah.
It's much more healthy.
Yeah.
In any way, like so many guys I've met that made it according to like standard of what we think made it. They all do what they like. It's really like they focus on something they're passionate about, a craft that they like.
So important, because that's what will ultimately sustain you as well. Because anything, whether it's trading or any business you do, doesn't matter how successful you are, you're going to hit a bumpy road at some point. Even Richard Branson, you read his book, he had the same problems, right? Like he had incredible, amazing moments of pure bliss and success with even Virgin, the label, where he signed Janet Jackson, and he was huge. And then the airline took him. It was a huge, it was disastrous for him in the beginning, and he was forced to actually sell his label that he loved in order to float the airline. So at the end of the day, if you don't love what you do, you will get caught out. I think at some point you'll have no choice but to leave or sell or do something, because like when it gets hard, outcome disappears and your reason for staying is no longer there. So
I agree.
How do you sustain that? It's impossible, really. So yeah, I agree. I think you need to love what you do. I think any entrepreneur would tell you that.
That's the thing with trading. Like you do need to like the fact that so what you need to love the most on trading, in my opinion, is you as a performer. Like in the sense, like how you are able to perform on a high risk, high stress environment where every little thing on trading is made for you to rethink. It's made for you to be fearful about something. It's made for you to lose money and so on. Like if you think about the speech that is made around trading, is that it's risky. Okay, so it's risky because you are trading and you are risking your money. It's not you can't lay a foundation because you never know if it will happen over time. Mm-hmm. So it's something unstable, uncomfortable. And it's everything that is inverse of our psychology. Yeah. And then you have these small engineering things that makes you even worse, such as, let's say that you decide to put money on. Like, so you have an amount that you decide. Technically, this amount is just a number. But for people, we got used to get attached to money because this is what makes us live. So we get attached to it. So you put an attachment that you have, something that you cherish, already on the table. Mm-hmm. And then what happens is that you have candles. It's either red or green. So it means either good news, it goes up, either bad news, it goes down. So it's already psychologically, unconsciously affecting you. And then as soon as you press a button, you took full responsibility, so scary thing, uncomfortable thing, to move your money into something you don't know the outcome. It's either minus something or either plus something. You don't even know exactly how much you'll do because you have maybe commissions, you have maybe slippage. Like imagine all these dots, like I'm telling, like we make a fucking list, sorry about my word, of things where psychologically it affects you, and so on and so on and so on and so on. You could trade for 2 hours, 3 hours, or 1 hour, or a full day. The stress level remains the same. Mm-hmm. So that's why you kind of need to save yourself. And the worst of this psychological trigger, I think, in trading is that as soon as you put a trade, there is numbers moving. And for some reason, we are also, we are in a society, we are in a world where numbers is so important for us now. When technically, like you say, everything's borrowed most of the time, and all our money now is digital. It's like we can't even feel it, except what you own, except maybe like if you withdraw cash, but now it's less and less cash. So it's really a matter of perspective and how you put the facts towards your mind that will help you to grasp trading. Because when you see the number moving, it makes you hesitate. Oh, I should leave now because look, I'm in danger, right? Like I'm minus whatever. Yeah. Or, oh, I'm good, I'm plus this. And your mind wants to take the profit because it's something you can, like you attach to it when it doesn't really change. So that's the whole, that's why I think trading is an art per se, because it's an art of control for yourself. It's a performance that you are doing towards a situation that can be very stressful, but you try to take control of through your actions. And this is the whole difference, right?
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly right. It's like even now, we both got burned on that UJ trade. And it's right before we started this interview, I saw a couple of, my alert went off and I was like, I think it's going to work now. And, but obviously I didn't do it because we're having our chat, but it would have played out. So it's just one of those things that you need to accept that sometimes doesn't mean you're wrong. It just means the timing's a bit off. Had you, maybe just waited for that extra bit of confirmation, it might have worked out. And so dealing with all the emotions that arise out of that, because right now I'm sitting on a loss for the day rather than a win, it's all those things you need to manage. And I actually enjoy trying to challenge myself to manage that, because that's the only thing that I have that I can actually control or manage. So I think that's a challenge for me. The challenge in trading is exposing myself to situations that are uncomfortable and improving every day in dealing with that. That's been the challenge.
I think it's good. Me, I think the biggest thing from the beginning is to actually be confident about my decisions. Meaning, I'll put you, for example, right now I'm doing this flipping challenge for proving, to make a suggestion to people that they don't have to go to prop firms. They could also consider that they trade a small amount of money, risk it in a bigger risk trade to potentially flip it, and the chance of them making money in the end of the day compared to prop firm is maybe higher for them, right?
Yeah.
So I put 150 euros, which I mean, I don't care at this point about this money. And I start to do good. Now I have this loss streak that makes me down. I'm still good on the money. But what stops me is that even though I said, yeah, it's 150 euros, I said to everyone, I don't care about it. But my ego wants to make it because I'm showing two other things. And now I'm back to zero after like a very good week. And I'm like, so what I mean by trusting and being confident about what I'm saying is that right now, I shouldn't feel my ego being like, oh shit, I'm back to break even. I should even not care if I lose the whole money because it's the example I want to show, right? So it really happens the same for my trading. It's like when I'm journaling, when I'm reviewing things, whatever it is, I'm saying like I have paper journal, right? And I'm writing things. And many times I'm saying things, yeah, it's okay. Like there were this review of a trade and this trade this. And for example, I will say, I'm taking 2 trades a day. But when I'm doing this and I take 2 loss, I actually don't like it. I don't like the feeling of it. And then that's where a person, like anyone, we re-question ourselves. But technically, I agreed with myself I will take two trades a day. So I knew that 2 losses a day could be a normal thing. Right? Yeah, but you get affected by it, despite it's like you still agreed with this on the rule. And it's a very difficult situation here because you are on a discussion with yourself and you are fighting with your brain who think else, who wants to protect you in this thing. So when you do 1 trade a day, I love to do 1 trade a day, for example. Now I realized that I wanted to, because I mean, we're already 10 days in this flipping. It's 18, I started on 8, and I want to finish 8th of August. I'm like, if I want to make it happen, I need to put 2 trades a day, which expose me more, but technically it's the same process because I take the same kind of trade. So I would have lost the day after, would have been the same feeling. But you take 1 trade a day and you feel good because you had 1 good day, 2 good days. You let the green days going towards like your state. Like, oh, I feel good about this, and then when start the bad day and you're like, oh shit, maybe I should trade more, or because you don't like to be in that stage. And this is the whole humility around it. That is a very big path to go through. Very big.
That's what happened to me, because what happened was, even when my track record on Darwinex was really strong, and I think I had two or three losses out of 12 or something like that, and I realized that on those 2 losses, every day I was doing 1 trade a day, but on those 2 losses, there was 2 trades. One was the loss and one was the win that got it back, so that way. And I realized that any time I was doing 2 trades a day, which was probably only 3 or 4 times it ever happened, was when my first trade was a loss. But if I won the first trade, I just would not trade anymore.
Exactly.
So the problem with that is clearly my psychology was like, I don't want to end the day with a loss, so let's try again.
Exactly, yeah.
Let's
try again.
Excuse me. Until the first time not yesterday, the day before, I did that and I got 2 losses. And then I was actually more upset about that, not because I had the loss, but because it felt like a bit like a revenge trade. The fact that I was even taking a second trade is a revenge trade, right? So it's like, I still was strong on my bias, and I thought, no, I think it's going to work now. Now, I didn't do that today. I took the loss and I accepted it, even though now, had I did it again, it would have been a positive day for me today, because it definitely would be a TP for sure. But the thing is, what's more important, more than anything, is that I accept it and stick to the rule of, if I'm going to do 1 trade a day, then I only do 1 trade a day. Doesn't matter if it's a win or loss.
Because it really depends what are you working on. Like for your track record of Darwinex, you are looking for long term.
Yeah.
Like long term. So the one trade a day makes sense, and one loss and 1 day loss or even several days loss doesn't matter if you look at the whole picture, thinking I'm going for the long term.
It's also then, for example, though I'm talking about more of that.
Sorry. Yeah, it's definitely bad habit. But for example, if you will do like the flipping like I do, is when you put the money into risk, technically if you lose it, you will be at the same point than when you put the money at this risk, because the initial balance that you've put, if you would have kept it in your bank account, either you will never have made more of it. You will either have spent it, or if you let it in a bank account, I mean, we know that just keeping cash is not make you earn anything, right? It just doesn't. So you will have got fees or whatever. So you are at the same stage. But here, you really try to, instead of working the money out on Darwinex, you are working your performance out all the time.
Yeah.
So this will make it, I think, if you think about it like this way, will make it easier to not take a trade after a loss. Okay.
I think for the psychology part of it, I think it's like the one trade a day is good, because really, with what I'm looking for in the time frame I'm looking for, like that's enough. We all know that one trade is plenty, and you can do really, really well. We know that. The problem that I was experiencing was because I was on, like, I mean, this is just me analyzing my mental state, right? After quite a few wins, you start to feel really good. Okay.
Definitely.
Then a loss comes, and it's like bang, straight away. Now I'm already breaking the one trade a day rule. Then it worked for me, which is the worst thing that can happen. Worked for me twice. In fact, it's like, yeah, I had 2 losses, but it was 1 win, 1 loss with 1-to-2 ratio. I'm still good. So now you're still feeling great. It's only when I had the 2 losses in a row that I really analyzed my behavior, and I was disappointed in myself for breaking my rule, even though I broke it before that. But the thing is that the problem with that is my second entry was poor, because most people, I believe, are not mentally strong enough, like say a Novak Djokovic would be, all right, to be able to turn around a losing position instantly. Mentally, I'm talking about. Like to be able to clear your mind so fast that you can take the next trade without any influence from what just happened.
This is what I love. This is what makes me love trading, is that I want to reach that point that you are talking.
Yes.
It's like, no matter I got a loss before or a win before, I want to be as confident as when I did, for example, last December, 80%.
Yeah.
And you feel a good confidence. In any stage, it will be nice. And that's what I want to reach, this stage of like just being.
Me too. It's a goal, but that is, to me, that is like the pinnacle.
Yeah.
Like to achieve, but that's in anything in business. Like if you can reset that quickly and perform at your optimum level, I mean, let's face it, there's few people in the world that can actually do that. It's not that easy. Like that's why you only have so many Roger Federers or Djokovic's that can do it, because, and of course their talent is incredible, but there's a lot of great tennis players out there, and to be able to do that repetitively and not allow it to affect you, like I said, because it's such a small percentage of people that can actually do it. I'm definitely not one of them. That's where I said, I think I even wrote to you in my DM, I said, the new rule is I stop and I have to stop and reset, and maybe that means come back tomorrow, because even though you think you're ready for the next trade, there's a big chance. So that's why I feel like the one trade a day it forces you to have that time to be able to reset and not let it affect you. You think that it's not affecting you, but I think it does.
Yeah, it does, for sure.
Yeah. So, yeah. Anyway, I know we've gone off bit of off topic here, but
no, it's okay. I mean, the goal is True Traders Experience is discussion. It was the goal we wanted also.
Yeah,
Yerba, he asked actually an interesting question. He said, what steps do you actually take when you notice you're in a losing streak? And actually my answer will be quite short, because I've tried so much to deal with myself in those moments in different circumstances. Either I was learning something when I was a young trader, was learning a new strategy, I was trying to apply something or whatever. I was really trying to think why and what can I do for a losing streak. But now in the stage I'm profitable, I'm finding like good momentum in my trades. I have a good stage, right? The only answer I add to that is to ignore it and just continue what you have to do. Like there's no secret. The best way to deal with a losing streak is to actually not give it an importance. It's same for trading. You see, what happens when what we were talking about is that we have a loss. You notice that you take another trade after a loss, right? It's because you put an importance on the green days where you feel good.
Yes.
As soon as you emphasize in one of those things, that's where it makes you make like decisions that are not not good compared to your plan. Yeah. It's just because of the importance we give to something. So if you just as much give an importance on the lose that you are doing, and you start to identify yourself with it, and you start to like that's where decision will come, make like crazy stuff, and you will make mistakes.
Yeah, you don't even realize it's happening though.
Yeah.
Like you can be on a win streak, and all of a sudden you just can't wait to open up your chart because you feel so good. Of course you do. You feel great because you just everything you're doing is working. For me, like, I mean, yeah, I'm 4 losses. Is that a losing streak? Yeah, a little bit. All right. I don't feel bad. I know what it's like to be in a losing streak before when I lost the Fibers Challenge. What helps me not care like I did last time, because I did care last time, was like, it's funny. You just gotta. I just remember how it really bothered me then, and how much it's not bothering me now, as in that moment. So what I always try to remind myself is, whatever you really care about now, guaranteed you will not care about it soon. This is true. You will eventually forget about it. It's like when you buy your first new car. It's like you're so obsessed with it. Like when I bought my motorbike, I have a Harley, and I was like obsessively cleaning it all the time. I didn't want to get a scratch on. I was like, I love this thing. I just want it to be perfect. And you spend so much time, and then something happens, and then you're really upset about it, and you're like, oh my God, why did that happen? And then within soon enough, it disappears. You don't even think about it ever again. All right?
Yeah.
To me, it's the same as that.
And it's funny you come with a bike thing, for example. When you take your bike, you kind of know you are more exposed as a driver than people in the car, right? I suppose you did face some dangerous moment while you were biking, yes?
Yeah.
Some people were like, so you can take it as the market, because this is like you arrive on the road and it's the market. But when, let's say you had maybe one event that made you scared in one moment, maybe a driver didn't see you and you were passing, and you were close to have an accident or close to do something that was bad, right? But you still made up and you go straight and you go back home, let's say. The day after, will you drive differently?
No.
You still drive the same. Yeah. So you want to be a trader like you are a driver. Meaning that when we are a driver, do you every time enter in your car or on your bike thinking you'll be the next Schumacher? That you'll be the best performer driver? I'm not. I just go A to B.
No, I don't think like that. Like when I'm on the bike, I don't think like I'm the best rider and everyone's like, I know that I'm aware, but I can't be scared as well. So it's like, yes, you're aware that something can happen to you, and no, you're not perfect. So you need to can't just be like, oh yeah, no problem. I'll just ride like a crazy person. Nothing's ever going to happen to me. You can't think like that, but at the same time, you can't think to yourself, oh my God, like, is it going to happen now? Because if you think like that, like, is the accident going to happen now? If you think like that, then, hey, you're never going to, oh, I don't know what's happening. That's amazing. Okay, yeah. It's not my birthday, guys. Sorry.
We still try to figure out what's up.
I don't know what that.
Software.
Yeah, I don't know. It's the Italian. I use my hands and it creates all this AI stuff. Yeah. So I think you can't be either or, because if you start thinking that way, then you're going to attract negative energy too, and you know, you're going to be so terrified that you're not even going to enjoy it. So why even do it? You know what I mean? It's like, imagine you're trading and you're terrified every time the candle's moving and your money is on the market. You're gonna you're gonna be so terrified and so destroyed that you might as well just not have entered it at all. Just don't even do it.
Yeah.
So you got to have that equilibrium where you can't believe that you're invincible, but at the same time you're aware that you could end up in an accident today.
Exactly. So, but the rules, you know how it works, the mechanics of your bicycle, like a bike or car. For example, me, like lately, we put my daughter in front, my eldest, because she, for her age, she's quite tall. She took like my side of it. And so she's better in front, right? And at first I was thinking, shit, like I have my 4 years old in front. Like it makes you think, because you like she's more exposed to things, right? But it's not like I'm changing the way I'm driving. I need to, I follow the same speed. It's not, if I will be slower, I'll be more dangerous. If I will be faster, I'll be as dangerous. I'll just be, like we say in Swedish, lagom. Like this is like not too much, not too few.
Yeah.
And you want to be a trader like a driver, because every day you drive. So if you want every day to trade, you should just continue no matter what. So it's not like I'm thinking of a dumbass who didn't think about the right priority and almost bumped me like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
I still continue to to drive the same way. Trading should be exactly the same.
Exactly.
And it should come and roll, like not you come in the chart with like anxiety and stuff, because it just affects you.
Yeah,
really.
It's funny because you're so right. And I've had lots of people come up to me talking about trading and how dangerous it is, and like we've all spoken to those people. Yeah, but it's dangerous. Like, why would you want to gamble like that? It's like, don't do it. Like all sorts of things they come up with, and I always say the same thing. Like, we are literally gambling our lives every day. Like when you cross the road, you're gambling your life that you can get hit by a bus. You're in the car, like at any moment you could be the statistic that is on the news of, this man and his wife died in a car accident or whatever on the way to wherever they're going, right? So it's like, but we don't think twice about that. We never even think about it. You just do it
exactly
every day.
It's like like when we had the pandemic, like, I mean, a lot of people died at their home, and we actually realized that the statistics is that most people die in accidents at their home, more than just taking the plane. Just a small thing like this puts you back in order, like, oh yeah, shit, of course.
But there's way more people, but there's way more people afraid of flying than driving. Like, you can literally be at the airport. I had a friend of mine like that, terrified at the airport, didn't want to go anywhere, take tablets, trying to deal with getting on the plane, didn't want to leave, didn't want to go overseas. And I said to her, I was like, yeah, but you drive every day. And it's like, it just didn't, because the anxiety doesn't help you make sense, right? Of situations, it's a reactive thing. It's an emotional reaction to fear, right? But, and you really look at it, it's like trading is not even that dangerous compared to half the things that we do today.
Exactly.
I mean, yeah, you might lose a trade, but it's not like you're going to, lose a limb or something.
Yeah, exactly. So, it comes down to what importance you put into something.
Yeah.
You know? It's like taking a plane. It's most of the time people who are afraid of that is because they can't control, because they don't pilot it, right? And they don't know how this works. They don't know how the engineering behind it works. And they think they are in danger because they're not in land. But it's just about the importance they are putting about something. And the cure to that, for example, it's very common for people who are afraid of flying. Like this, you can do some, like, how to say, workshops where it can help us. The best cure to that is knowledge. So what the pilot is doing is like it explains you how a plane is working. When you realize the amount of checkup they are doing before a plane is going on and taking off, you're more safe than you don't even check your oil every day on the car.
That's so true. All your tires, pump the
or your tires or whatever. And if it explodes or whatever, like you put yourself in big danger.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's just, I think when you start to put all those, like, this is what goes on in my mind. If I ever feel stressed, or for whatever reason, maybe think something's not working out the way I'd like, I just remind myself of these situations. When you think to yourself, oh yeah, what, was it really that bad? Not really. Like, I'll tell you what, like, I was devastated that Fibers Challenge I didn't pass, because I really wanted to pass that. I was so devastated about that. And now it's like as if, well, why did I even care about it? It's just so stupid, because it doesn't matter. It's like, I'm going to fail so many more times doing this. But once again, it's not about the trading. It's about how much you learn about yourself. And for me, it's been the best thing ever. And that's why, like, I just absolutely love what that's done for me. And for me, I've told you before in the past, but in our talks, that is the biggest win I can ever have from all of this, no matter what. So it's weird. Like, there's nothing really out there that really exposes you like this, I feel.
No, for sure. And I think in trading, losing is great. Because if we were not losing, we will not reevaluate ourselves. Right? Like, we will not, like, for example, look at people, for example, in a lifetime, they feel great, and now what happens more and more, we see it. I don't know if it's like that in your surrounding, but some people, they arrive 40, 50, 30, they get sick. And something happens. It's like they didn't expect it, because it just came like a bomb. Technically, maybe the sickness has happened, like, was building up. But this sickness sometimes brings, for most of people, good, because they reevaluate their life. Like, maybe I should get better at my relation with people, because we realize that we are so fragile. Same for trading. Like, for me, that's how I see it. Like, the losses, hard to swallow at the beginning, but will always be a good opportunity to get better, really.
Yeah, exactly. So a couple of questions in here. I just got to raise my screen.
Yeah, I'm putting on the stream, like, you can see
lift this up.
Right, like Sporo driving, indeed physical work, even though accidents do happen, but you learn to adapt and overcome. Yep. Imagine being a doctor and the hour before a patient died because of a mistake, but he needs to get up again and do the next patient. It's resilience, and okay, it can happen. Yeah, of course.
Absolutely.
I mean, like, my wife is very involved in the home birth community, and a lot of them are midwives, and they lived things like where the baby died, and stuff. Like, I mean, need to continue for the next person. It's horrible stuff.
It's horrendous. So let's talk a little bit more about you, Pablo, because like, we know that you very entrepreneurial. At what stage was it about trading that made you want to take a deep dive?
It's been a long time ago now. It's been a long time. I can't tell you a date exactly, but what happens is that I wanted to find ways to fund my goals. So it was in a time where I wanted to be a photographer, and I needed to be assistant, but every photographers I've met, so I've met photographers through being a model, And then I wanted to leave the model industry very quickly to go towards that goal of photography. So what I did is that every time I had either a contract or whatever, or my ex-girlfriend also was a model at that time. So every photographer I was just trying to socialize until I found one that accepted that I can be his assistant. But he told me like I have no budget, and I was expecting that most of them don't have for that, and they also want to test you out. So what I did is that I worked during the night. So I was working as I don't know how you say that in English per se. There must be a word, but
night shift or something.
But waiter manager. Like I was managing waiters.
Okay.
So I did a lot of something like that on a luxury restaurant in Paris. I was doing that at night, and I just was trying to find things that could at least make me live, make me have my apartment, eat and whatever. The nice thing with restaurants, my thinking behind it was, if I do that, is that I get food that I don't need to think about, right? And during like the rest will be for what I live and maybe some investment I need to do towards that. So this was not enough because it was taking me a lot of energy. So I started then to sell things. So that's where, if you've been to Vooz back then, you had blogs, you had all this website. They had like shitty ads, and back then you didn't have ad blockers, and it was ads like how would you want to lose weight in 30 days without doing anything. I was doing this type of stuff. Like I was selling this type of stuff. You would click on it, and you would have a page. So I was trying things like that.
Yeah.
And then I was in an age where I wanted to just like look at everything. And trading came, and I came into a guy called on YouTube, Fuck Euro USD. That's his name. And in French speaking. And the guy made me so much. He made me laugh so much. It was like shit green screen, and he was talking like a bit a ghetto guy, and he's like, yeah, I'm doing this, I'm trading like that, whatever. I'm like, the guy has balls. I really always look up to guys who do things even if it looks ridiculous, but that they do it with conviction. Like that's something. So I've learned through my youth that you should never judge anyone for what they do, even if you think it's stupid. Yeah. And this guy, at the first place, for me, was like, wow, the guy is another level. He's calling himself Fuck Euro USD, and he's doing this thing on Forex, right, and making money. So I started to see that, and I was like, okay, trading must be interesting. Yeah. And I looked at it like more or less in diagonal, I will say, but because I didn't have time too much to look at it more. But I saw the potential. You risk some money and you make more. So then I started trading on an app. It was called, I don't remember the name, a Dutch company. And this had not even a chart. It was just like put $50 or $100. It was looking like a game, the thing. And I put, and then you had, our best trader are trading this. So I was looking the best trader long on Euro USD. Okay, long on Euro USD. And I was putting long. I just didn't know what to do. No stop loss, no take profit. As soon I was waiting for them to get out, and then get out, and then I get out. Long story short, I lost money. But that's how I got interested. And I can't tell you exactly the path I've took towards that, but it's been a lot on and off, because in between I was very busy and started my business on photography and so on. So it came at moments where I had time, really. And also what made me interested about it is that it really reflected with the kind of business I had, where I liked, photography was more like my passion because I'm artistic, right? Yeah. And the other passion was doing selling from my Switzerland experience. So I like to have a speech or have a pitch to you and potentially convince you to buy it, right? And what I loved, and I still love it to this day, is to go from from an idea, right? And potentially it will just require me an amount of time. And this idea that it took me, let's say, this amount of time to start, I can sell it over time and make like a huge scale up onto this. And trading for me was exactly the same idea that I really got attracted to. You can put an amount of money or risk, but you can scale up technically unlimited in a way that there is no limit.
Yeah.
The limit is what you put yourself in. So the stop loss here. And that's where it always came back to me, trading. Always came back to me. And then I fell into guys that was doing trading, and they advised me some of the guys, so I started to buy a lot of courses. I did a lot of courses. The first course I bought, and I'm ashamed about it, it's Tom Sykes. I don't know if...
No.
It's a stock guru. I mean, whatever. And I was so happy with this buy because I was like, yeah, let's do it. He invest on penny stocks, and I was so ready, like to dive with my laptop in this course. And then I started the first video, and I'm like, what did I buy? Like, I was like, it was a 4-hour first video.
Yeah.
For 3 hours and a half, it told how great he was. I didn't see what was like a chart, anything.
Nothing.
Anything, bro.
It's that great.
Yeah. So then I was like, fuck stock. I'll not do stock. I'll see something else. Fell into a lot of different guys. And then my idea was like, if I spend more money, I'll get to know more things. And then came the loop. I spent way too much in courses trying to find solutions, right? Did even mentorship of one guy that is very famous now on YouTube. So it was a lot of money then. And I was thinking I need to invest myself into making more money, right?
Yeah.
And also in between, I did have some nice wins, some nice loss. I was just playing around with things.
Yeah.
And until a point, I was like, I am actually victim of what I'm working on, because I'm working on marketing, right? Yeah. And when I was young, I was selling things where you could discuss the product, right? It's like you could think like, I promise you a magic pill. I was young. I needed to try. I wanted to sell and stuff. But then came really the ethic of like, if I sell anything, it has to have a meaning for me. And I've a belief that it will bring something to someone.
Yeah.
And then I realized with all those courses, all those mentorship and stuff I did, that I fell for this marketing things that I'm working on, and I didn't even realize it. So you see, it took a lot of ego into me to realize, because I thought, I'm in the marketing, I know this thing, I don't fall into it, and I kept doing it. So when I did the list of what I spent, I started to cry almost. It's like, what did I do? And so that's where I was like, it was a really light bulb for me, thinking that, well, this is all bullshit. The only way I will figure out trading is by myself. And I had a person who really helped me, a mentor, I would say. And he helped me in the most important thing in trading that you can have, is to actually look at it yourself and be simple. Like, that's the main key I keep about this mentorship. Yeah. And so the first thing I started when I did learn more about chart trading and not like gambling on the app, right, was this thing called pullbacks with support and resistance. But then the more I was looking at things, the more I had a new guru, a new teacher, a new whatever. They would rename things in different things. And so I completely forgot this concept here of like price goes up or down and pullbacks at some point and sometimes reverse. That's all it is. And have some important moment of resistance or support.
Yeah.
So what I did is that I went into the charts and I decided to be an academic for once and stand on like my desk for hours and look what do I see the most. I don't care about how the charts looks. I don't care about what he's doing. And also just to make you a little context here is that when I had this really like moment where I had a break and I needed to change everything, I was into SMC, so smart money concept, all this stuff where they make you pretend that you can know everything about the chart or the block, change of character, this, that. Like, so it's like they take ego on what they are seeing and they make like nice drawing to make you think like you're a loser because you don't see those things, right? Basically. So I was like trying to detox myself from something, an idea that I don't have to know everything in the charts to actually make money. It's how smart you are about it. So I was like, I need to find something that I see consistently in my vision. I will not judge anything. And the thing I was seeing the most was obviously pullbacks. Every time price goes somewhere, pulls back, come back, and so on and so on and so on. I was like, this is a dumb ass work. This is like I was at this moment is like, if I can't make money about it, it's because I'm too smart. I need to be more stupid.
Yeah.
And when I decided to be completely stupid, and back then I was tracing a fib, no matter, I was not looking at how we broke the structure, whatever. I was just taking it. I was like, I'll see. I'll take 1-to-1. Also, this was difficult to pass through that because I was looking at that much more risk reward. I'm like 1-to-1, a bit more, but like just to cover the commission. And I'll see how it goes to do the pullback. So I was forcing myself to be like, if I see a pullback, I just take it. I don't judge it. Whatever happens, happens. And I did that, and very quickly, it changed my whole trading. Wow. Very quickly. And then what I did, which it's an individual thing, is that I'm a high-risk person. When it comes to my entrepreneurship, when it comes to everything I'm doing, I'm willing to take a risk to potentially see a good reward. Potentially. Knowing that I'm always ready to lose out anything. I've lost several business. I've did a lot of shit business, but I did a few very good ones. So I was thinking, well, I don't have time to waste more. I've been learning all the time. Now it's time, when you do trading, you shouldn't be a student all your life. Yes, it takes maybe 3-4 years to be a bachelor and doing something, but at some point you kind of need to learn it. And trading is street school. You need to learn on the field. It is street school. So in some way I was like, shit, I got blind by this marketing thing when actually it goes completely in line with my mindset. I've started to sell face-to-face, old style now. People will stole this because now it's everything on internet. And I was trying to discuss, create a relation and maybe close a deal. It's street school, right? And trading was literally the same thing. I was like, so should I be soft and try to take it slow, build my record, and so on and so on? Or should I think like an entrepreneur? I want to make money, see if I actually can make it. If it works, then I continue to trade. If I see there is no revenue because of the amount of years I spent not making any money, then I will just not do it. So I went full in, bro. And I decided that I spent too much money on courses. So I decided to go for those funded accounts.
Okay.
That's how it came. Because I was like, if I can do it with the funded accounts, I will not put more money. And then I started to do that. 1-to-1 pullbacks. I was adding cautions for me to have. And it was very, very simple. 1% trades, you know.
It's 1.5 from 0.5.
Yeah, I think it was mostly 1%, but as long as it was enough risk for advancing. I wanted to have a result.
Did you like enter at the 0.5?
Yeah, 0.5 or 618.
Okay. Would you go market orders, or were you just doing? What were you doing?
When it was the revelation of things, it was limit order.
Okay.
I was seeing so I was waiting for when you had a range or an accumulation or something. I was waiting for breakout. I was tracing the fib, taking it. I was going to another pair. I was seeing it, taking it. So I lost some accounts, right, and then win some. But in the end, I was winning more than I was losing.
Yeah.
And this, I do have some moments where I miss that moment, because like every time you discover something, okay, I don't know how, which example I could give that people can relate. But let's put someone out of the table, like just Mr. X, okay? He got stressed because of work, whatever, and someone told him about, let's say, meditation, like Harry was talking about, okay? When this person start to discover meditation, it's like, oh, wow, I actually can be present. I feel great, right?
Yeah.
It's the new, like the syndrome of a new skill, of a new thing, the new gift that you receive. And so you start to do it, and for the beginning of it, it just feels great. This is where my pullback, not thinking about what I was doing, because I was a bit in a rebel mode after all the mistake I've did before. I was just doing, placing the trade, not giving a shit, do it again, not caring of if I will lose or win. I just want to do it, know if it works or whatever. And this was the highlight moments where I didn't feel stressed. I was pretty confident, so on. But then Mr. X start to do meditation and start to do every day and gets used to this like state, right? So then Mr. X will always try to get back this feeling of the first time, right? But it will always be different because you need to go further. It's the same when you start to draw, you start music. For example, you start music, the first time, maybe you remember it, the first time you were able to do actually like a nice melody and so on, you're like, shit, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And then you have this moment of like, yeah, it's like you're quite hype and everything. And then it goes back down here because you need now to learn more. You need to go to the next step. And this is like this curve that is so long until you get back to the next momentum and then back again and next momentum.
It's the same. It's like literally the pullback.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah, it's a pullback.
You get pullback in your career and everything you do.
So even if now I'm in a stage where I'm doing great, right? Compared to this moment, I'm telling you, I'm just tracing the fibs. I do miss that moment because I was careless and it made me act more into things. So yeah, that's how.
Also, your life has changed too.
Of course,
kids like
got married, get kids.
Yeah, you know? It's like things start to get a little bit more stressful, and I feel the same now. Like even now, I don't have kids, but I have mortgages and I have a lot more responsibility. The level of finances that I need to live is a lot higher than what it was. Than what it was when I first started, writing music. I could live on very little at that time. And then as you start to see some success, get a bit older, you want to have that nice glass of wine with dinner and all that sort of thing. The level of what you need changes. I know it's always up to you, but it never ends up being the same as what it was.
Yeah. I will say that now we are in the most trying to hold our we're trying to be the most responsible as it is, because for example, we got my first daughter, and we were enough of Sweden because we got stuck in Sweden with the COVID because we were blocked from other countries who thought we were crazy in Sweden with no restriction, whatever. And we were blocked in these nice posh areas, right?
Yeah.
Of everything is comfortable and so on. And one day, I'm like, we need to do something. Otherwise, it was a very hard moment with our relationship. But I was like, otherwise I need to go back to France to do something. And then my wife is like, yeah, okay, no problem. And 1 month later, we left to Montenegro. So it's a tiny country in the Balkan, outside of EU, just to change. because we saw that there were some investment stuff too you could do and so on. And we left with a 1 year and a half, I think she was, kid, with a car, took our stuff, left everything, and we went there.
That's awesome.
And we arrived there, it was a complete mess compared to Sweden. Sweden's clean, people drive very slow, take time, they all look great, like in the sense, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Montenegro, it's a jungle. And of course, we didn't come like with nothing, right? We have established business and everything, but we went completely off-road, and no one was supporting us, family whatsoever, anyone. It's like, where are you guys going? Many people don't even know the country and think you go in a war zone. Yeah. And no, it was an interesting experience. And that's where we learned that no matter if you have kids or not, if you want to take risk or do crazy shit, you can still do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
absolutely.
Of course, I will not take maybe the high risks decision I took as I was young, but I'll still take risks if it's needed in my life.
I mean, they're quite risky things to do. Like, and there's not many people that can just do that. So you got to give yourself a lot of credit, especially with a 1-year-old or 1.5-year-old. There's not many.
I have 2, you know. So it's like, but now we're more settled. I mean, we're more settled, and it's not because we want to. My wife and I, if it was my wife and I, we will be always somewhere. Now she wants a motorhome because now it's a bit more comfortable way to go for summer. But it's because also like with 2 kids, like you can't move as much as you would want because they have needs, and we want to respect that. We want to have them a growth where they don't feel like just confused and lost. But other than that, now the risk I take will be on decision for businesses, right?
Yeah.
Like, so now it's maybe time to scale my businesses, scale my trading into something even bigger because now I'm more comfortable in terms of house and stuff like that.
That's awesome. Like, I love the fact that both you and your wife have the same view. Otherwise, it would have been very difficult, I can imagine.
Yeah. I mean, bro, we had a lot of bumps because it's difficult from the environment she comes from, family, and even from our friends and stuff. It's not like we've been supported a long time, but the difference between me and her is that when I met her, I had a lot of years of experience thinking what I was doing was crazy, you know, because I went Switzerland, I was going around trying things, selling things, doing photography, and like, what are you doing with your life? Like, I heard this word, like, when will you get a real job, so many times. So I was already like immunized about the bullshit. I was like, yeah, but you'll see.
Yeah.
And so she went through that when difficult, and we still go through that despite it's been years. And like I told you, we do better than most of anyone we know. Yeah. But still, it's like, it's a bit risky you do, yeah? Aren't you? Isn't it stressful? Like, don't you want something more stable?
It's hilarious. But my question to that is like, and then what happens when you've got this amazing job and then suddenly just made redundant? It's like, hey, sorry guys, but this position.
I'll tell you one thing. When I went back, so I went to Switzerland after my high school, and I said to my mom, like, I'm going on holidays in Switzerland, and I came back 2 years after. So it was long travel. But I needed to just like break everything. So it was very hard for her and so on. But came back, and I was doing modeling there, and she was already like saying the same speech, like, maybe you should find something. And some years after, I got a proposal of being an artistic director in a very good agency design agency in Paris. And so it was the only time I did, okay, I'll do it, right? Because I thought my mom was so happy about it, and the friends, everything. It was like just the whole social circumstance was like, okay, maybe I should listen to others. Right?
Yeah.
And you had the test trial period of 3 months, and I lost. And the salary was very good. I was one of the youngest, but the guy I knew that took me in, we as an agency, he saw the potential in me, like what he liked about me, and that's what I think many people says who knows me, is that I have an idea and I like to put it to life. So I'm very good at having ideas, and now I'm good at like applying it. And if I can do it myself, I'll just find people with me to do it. And so, yeah, I started to do that. It was fun, but then it was very like office job. It's just, instead of being a 9 to 5, it was basically a 11 to 9. Because you took through, like you're in advertising and design, so we wake up late, and then you finish at 9 p.m., and then you have a party. Basically, your life is your job, right? So I didn't last for a month, and I left.
Wow.
And the guy was like, are you crazy? Like, it was a 15K salary a month. At my age, was like, it was really good. It was after tax. It was like, no, bye, whatever. I'll do my shit.
It wasn't for you. You knew. You knew then that the lifestyle wasn't what you wanted. But obviously, going back to how you were already used to that sort of entrepreneurial lifestyle where people would judge you and go, well, why are you doing this? You should be a little bit safer. Obviously, your wife at that time, even though she wasn't exposed to it, she was very much attracted to that and obviously wanted that for herself.
So she's what you call in English, you say gifted?
Yeah, talented.
Yeah. So she has like, this high IQ things. So whatever, but she had tests for this and stuff. But she comes from an area where in Sweden you should be not too much, not too few. So she's been a lot like they put a lid on a boiling water, a bit this type. She had a lot of energy, then they put like a lid to say like, calm down. So that's why she needed to do studies outside of Sweden. And that's how, so the first break for her was to go to South Africa, and she went to live there in Zululand in the bush, and was like helping for NGOs, and like everyone was thinking she was crazy. That was the first thing. And then she went to university, and her goal is that she wanted to be the president of the UN. So she had like high goal, because she still had this goal from the family, from the school, of thinking like, you need to have a good career. So she was full on that, and had very good scores on university. Like, I mean, everything, full scholarship, whatever. And then she met me, and I kind of like pushed her boundaries, right? Like, and I told her like you are wasting you waste your time.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, I respect everything you will do, whatever decision you'll take. But imagine taking your skill, taking your abilities, and just putting it for yourself. Have control of it and be independent of it.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh. But she liked the idea.
Yeah.
And so she was doing a lot of art things. And she was always feeling bad about it because she didn't have a proper education about it, right? And I said, it's the best thing ever. Because people who goes on fine art or on school, we're full of limitations.
So
because we learn this, we learn that. And this is the problem also with trading. People now have too much limitation because of one guy told them that they made their belief in, like, you have to do like this. I said, you have no limits. You are like a kid, and this is what you want to be, like a kid with no limits. When I see my daughter drawing right now, she doesn't care of mistakes, and we don't tell her anything. And she's really talented. But also I'm the dad, so I understand the speech, whatever. But I really see a good potential. Yeah. So I did let her, my wife, and I said, like, do this thing. And I got the idea to take picture of her things and whatever, and put it on social media. And then it got completely viral.
It's amazing.
And that's where she was like, okay. And then we really ride the wave, and then we had workshops everywhere. Like, it was insane, bro. And she was like, okay, I need to do something with studies, but she didn't want to quit right away. So what she did instead is that she piled up the course to do the bachelor in like shorter time.
Okay, yeah.
And then never go for master's or whatever she wanted. She wanted to go even PhD. And since then, she said it's the best thing ever. And she says to some people, but to me a lot of times, she's like, I don't know how a 9 to 5 feels, but I've never want to know. So that's how it goes.
That's amazing. Yeah, look, that's a great story. I love that. And you're absolutely right about, like in the arts, being trained is one of the worst things that you could ever do. And I can say that even with music, it's like, well, it depends on what kind of music, but, for instance, like when singers get their singing lessons, I often don't really like that because they're taught to sing a certain way, which is good, I guess, if you're going to be like an opera singer or something like in the classical sort of vein, which is important for that. But then most of them, they learn how to sing and they want to become pop artists, right? Mm-hmm. And it does it's the worst thing for you because it makes you, it almost kind of takes away the sincerity out of your voice, right? When you sing. So it's like you are singing correctly with the right breathing and everything that you need to do, but it sounds unbelievable. So like they're singing like a song that's heartbroken, like I don't actually believe what you're saying. I would rather, if you didn't know how to sing at all, drink like heaps of whiskey and smoke cigarettes and pour your heart out into the microphone. And even though you get technically completely wrong, it's like the best performance ever. And it's like, it's that same thing. It's like, I can't explain it. It's just that technical imperfection that makes it. Mm-hmm. And so I relate to what you're saying there. It's like even this artist that I work with, Australian artist here, her name's just Jessica Mauboy. She's actually really, really well known here. And we did this ballad. It's a beautiful song. It's a heartfelt ballad. It's called Little Things. And when she recorded that she was, at one point, she was not really sure like how she was, she wasn't connecting 100% to it. And she was struggling a little bit. And then we just sat down, we talked, and it was a lot more about psychology, and we had a good conversation about some other stuff, and that would help her really connect. And then when she went in there and she recorded it, it's like, I don't know, it just went up another level. And there's even this moment at the very end of the song where she's like, her voice breaks. It actually breaks, but it sounds so good because it's like I feel you're like breaking. And we kept it like that take, and knowing that and having that foresight to go, yeah, we're using that. Technically it's wrong. If you want to fix it, you could, and we'll redo it. But at that moment in that song, it's perfect. And it's just having that, I don't know, that artistic vision and understanding how things don't always need to be perfect that lead you down that path, I guess. But
one thing my dad was saying, my dad is not perfect, right? in many ways, but he was telling me something like when I had a discussion with him. It's like, if you want to do, like, you can't normalize craziness. That's what he said.
Yeah.
And I translate this like, if you want to do something great or something like in your level, or you want to make a huge change, you can't normalize that. So that's why school obviously has benefits for many, but the way I was seeing it is like, if I want to make something different, like in trading, I can't normalize that. Like, it will have to come to me. And for me, like the trading courses, the courses it's just trying to put everything on the line, but everyone knows the same knowledge and do the same thing about it. So of course you could do normal things with it, like at a certain stage. But if you want to be here, right, you need...
Yeah, you got to break above the mold.
you can't be in that stage. So
that's so true. It's so true. You can't I love that. I didn't think of it that way with it. It's
and
so
this
true.
always stick with me. So every time I'm thinking when I'm doing something, when, for example, I will tell you right now, it's if you go on social media, Instagram, YouTube, whatever, it's all the same type of content.
Of course.
Because now we've normalized the short span content. It's the same subtitle, like everyone edits the same way. Like it's just like normalized and we think it's cool and so on. Let me put the light again. It's so unpredictable, the weather here, huh? The sun, sorry.
Sorry.
And everything is the same. I look at content, I'm like, it's damn bad. No, it's really bad.
Yeah.
And one thing that came the most with my experience is that before I was focusing on how it looks, and now I'm focusing on how it's been told. Right? Things are, and if you look at the YouTube channel I did, so now it's True Trader experience, but what I used to do with just Pablo Pucel and the trading is that I did everything that is inverse of what the content is. So yeah, I didn't reach 100K, 1 million subscribers or whatever, but just by a message that has been told, the message was easy. It was like, I'm like you guys, and I'm looking at these things as easy as that, and I make money. And it did work for many people.
Yeah, it did.
When now everyone wants to be the latest influencer and wants to do the same thing, and they do over and over the same thing.
So true.
When I look at a business for consulting or whatever, a business who wants to scale up, and I see their website, like it just looks all like shiny, all these things, but the message sucks. Like,
Sure.
You'll buy something for the story. If a good movie works, it's for the story more than the way it's been filmed.
I agree.
It doesn't matter the gear, it doesn't matter whatever. Musician is the same. Like sometimes you fall into musicians on the street who are like freaking talented, despite the chords of the guitar sucks.
Yeah, that's true.
Because they didn't have a budget or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's why you can't normalize craziness or talent or exceptional things or whatever you want to reach. If you want to make a change in your life that can be extreme for many people, it's just that the action you'll take for that can't be normal. It can be. And you are an example, pure example of it with what you did with music. Because I've listened to the episode you did with Harry.
Ah, yeah.
And I mean, it seems that you've not been the most supported into your music at first, but you still, right? You did a change, so you went for it.
Well, in my family, no one ever did anything like that. It just didn't. My mum was always supportive. Like she was she still is. She's an amazing mum, like the best mum. But she was just scared because at that time I would have been 18 years old. I finished school and I was like, I didn't even go to university or anything. I just was like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And she just was always like, well, maybe you should just have like a backup or something. But I didn't do it. And it's like, and I was actually quite good at school, so I probably could have gone to university or whatever. But I didn't end up doing it. And look, I understand it. I understand from her point of view, like, if it didn't work, then yeah, it can be problematic. I think I don't think there's anything wrong with having an education. I think it's great. But doesn't mean that you should not try, at least try, give it your best shot at something that you really want to do. And it doesn't work for everybody, but I also believe the reason why it worked for me is because I didn't stop doing it. Like people might say, yeah, but come on, you can obviously write a good song. You and your business partner are quite talented, and sure, maybe we are, but there's still people that were way more talented than me. So, and they have had less success than me. So what is it? I think talent can only get you so far. So I really 100% believe, like what we spoke about earlier, that it was the process that got me there.
Definitely.
And
along the way, you've been educated, if you think about it. You did learn things. So yeah, education is good. It's just what you do about it, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's amazing that how, I think what's really amazing is how you and I are connected through such a odd medium.
Yeah, it's
like
true.
We've never met in person ever. But yeah,
but I think if we would have met in any other circumstance, we would have become friends.
Yeah,
So
I think so too.
Common. So that's a funny thing that we meet in a trading circumstance.
It's pretty cool, and already made so many great connections already in our community, which has been fantastic. And there's so many people that feel the same way, and it's all something that started from you. So I think you should feel very proud of what you've created here. I just want you to know that.
Thank you.
It's very special.
Thank you, bro.
So, and I hope that like we get to reach more and more people doing what we're doing now, to help them, even if it is just helping them in the way that's helped me so far, which is coming to that realization in life of things that you might want to change or improve. Then that is already a win in itself, right? If you become an excellent trader and you make millions of dollars, awesome, fantastic. But the real realization for me and what I would love to achieve with our podcast that we're doing together is just be able to help them in the way that you've helped me. And if that works, then that's fantastic. Yeah.
Thank you. No, but I think it's the whole thing about, like, at some point I've been into, it was me, right?
Yeah.
In the sense, me, my career, how I can do better, and so on. But then, I mean, you want to nourish yourself with other things, right? So
yeah,
it can be only about you. And helping people, meeting new people is definitely the right thing, because I'm learning so much too, like I'm saying.
Yeah, you're always learning, right? You never stop learning.
Yeah, now I think it will be even better the way we've turned out with the podcast, and really hoping that I'm sure we will meet great people.
Yeah, it's exciting.
And it can bring so much to others,
Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, it's 2 hours already.
2 hours, right? Yeah. Well, if anyone has any questions, probably wrap it up, right? I mean, it's been an awesome conversation. I've loved it,
yes,
by the way.
Definitely same for me. Sorry, I got like a massive amount of calls, and I don't know what it is. So.
Thanks, Donna. I just want to say, maybe we can wrap things up because I don't see any other questions. But look, I hope that anyone who watches this has grabbed something out of it and learn a little bit more about myself and Pablo. And we just want to continue doing what we're doing and help as many people as we can, and just extend this awesome community that Pablo's already started. So. Just wanted to share that.
Yeah, we will just focus on the process.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll keep doing. So hopefully, we had another loss today, but we'll see what tomorrow brings.